Ready, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Oh, stop.
Okay, let's kick off. I think we'll start with Simon. Do you want to talk logistics? For the people of Greater Manchester, for the 2.5 million people who live in Greater Manchester, the M.E.N will be the only place to go to get full coverage of what's happening in Greater Manchester, plus also what's going on in the rest of the country. Obviously, all the national media focuses quite rightly on the whole country, and Manchester will barely get a mention. So what you get from the Manchester Evening News is that in-depth coverage with a bit of a Manchester twist, with a Manc northern sense of humour as well. So that's what's really important. In the run-up to the election, we think about this a lot, and we've covered 27, we've been to all 27 constituencies, we've spoken to people. This has raised different themes around what people have been dealing with since the last election, what they want from a new government, which way they're thinking of voting and why, and what are the key issues. So we've got a knowledge of our patch that no one else has, and that underpins everything we do in terms of the coverage in the run up to it, the coverage on the night, and the coverage in the aftermath. So we'll have a live blog that will anchor all our coverage. And we'll also have coverage running across social media, all social media, including TikTok. So people will be able to access the information where they want to access it.
General election coverage is really a key part of our duty to keep our readers informed. And it's a great opportunity for us to go out into the streets and talk to people about their concerns, their anxieties, and their hopes for the future.
So I suppose in my role covering politics in Manchester, my role is particularly important in the general election. But also with Manchester being the heart of this devolution project we've seen over the last 10 years or so, there is a lot of interest in how different parties are going to evolve that project of giving powers back to the regions away from London. And that means that Manchester, with it being one of the forerunners of that, has got a lot of interest in it at the moment on how that policy area changes. What I hope happens is that people engage with what we're doing here, either on social or by reading some news stories, and really get engaged with politics on a local level, because we know that turnout for a general election is often a lot higher, but at local elections, it's usually around 1 in 3 is considered a good result of people voting, and we'd really like more people to vote, at least half.
We're here at St John Henry Newman Catholic College on Broadway in Oldham to find out what parents really think about the issues facing their children today. So one question we're going to ask everyone is, do you think it's a good idea for 16-year-olds to be able to vote, especially when your son could be in that position in 5 years' time?
Probably not, no. I think she has a lot of thought behind this type of stuff. She's an intelligent child. I think she could make a decision for herself, so yes.
I cover all of our health and social care and NHS content, and obviously that is a huge topic in this general election. It's getting really high on the main parties' manifestos and is one of the things that most of the population has been talking about. The reason that our NHS health and social care coverage is really important to me is because it's so important to so many people. It's a service that we use on a day-to-day basis, and if we're lucky enough not to be using the NHS, we're probably working in the NHS. And equally, social care, which often goes under the radar for many people, it's something that we're all going to need to use at a certain time in our life when we age and become increasingly unwell.
So I've been leading the political coverage at the M.E.N during the general election and in the build-up to it, helping out with going out to each of the constituencies to speak to voters, keeping in touch with candidates and party campaigners to get a sense of what's happening on the ground, and going to party campaign visits and manifesto launches. So I've been working on a range of stories, some sort of speaking directly to politicians, scrutinising their policies, trying to get a bit of information out of them as to what they'll actually do if they get elected. But also, we've done a couple of big pieces looking back on the last 14 years, for example, the promises that have been made, what was kept, what promises were broken, and sort of what's going on in Greater Manchester at the moment. So as part of our general election coverage, we're here in the Hazel Grove constituency in Stockport to speak to the Liberal Democrat leader, Sir Ed Davey. We're going to watch him paint a bee on some pottery and hopefully have a chat with him afterwards. You've been known for pulling stunts along the election campaign trail. You were painting a bee on a pot today. Was there a message to that, and what have been your favourite sort of stunts over the election campaign?
I wouldn't say there's a deep message on painting bees. We're having fun in this wonderful environment here. The environment is very important to the Liberal Democrats. Bees are very important because there's a threat to them from Asian hornets, so that would be a priority. But listen, I don't want to overplay it. In terms of my favourite photo ops, I mean, probably the most, because it was most fun and also most serious, was when I came down the slide in Somerset during half term with lots of children and their families. And the serious message was the need to invest in mental health for our children.
In 20 seconds, could you give us your top 3 priorities for Greater Manchester?
Health and social care, Stepping Hill is falling down, and we shouldn't have a bucket brigade going out of staff every time it rains and water comes through the roof. Tackling the cost of living crisis, we shouldn't have kids going to school hungry, and also cleaning up our rivers. It's not okay that water companies can dump sewage in there with impunity.
Altrincham and Sale West is usually safe Tory territory. Graham Brady, who's a senior Conservative, well known across the country, has been the MP here since '97, but he's standing down this time, and Labour think they've got a chance of winning here. Would you be surprised if Labour won here? Because it's usually sort of quite a Conservative area, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would be quite surprised, I think, yeah.
What do you want from the next government?
I don't know. I suppose that really what you want is to have a solid plan, really, what you can invest in for your children and stuff in the future, because it's not really about the older generation, is it? It's about what's coming up in the future.
I feel sorry for all these people that's arguing about who are homeless. We need to do something about that, don't we, really? There's going to be a lot of people, especially around here, more people than ever hanging about.
We're here at Soft Play today to find out what matters most to families and what they think each party can offer them going forward.
I don't believe that any party at the minute is demonstrating that they are leaders.
I think what I'm doing is important to our coverage of the election, because it's all about going out, making sure we're hitting every single community in Greater Manchester, trying to speak to as many people as we possibly can, particularly some of those who might be people that we don't hear from regularly or speak to regularly. I am doing quite a few voxes, going out to different communities in Greater Manchester. I think news plays a really important role in how people engage with politics, how people feel that politics affects their lives. So yeah, it's really important to me to try and be that bridge and speak to people, and make sure that the reporting that we're doing is actually really accurate and really does reflect the communities that we serve.
It's election time, and in a huge student city like Manchester, what students think could really sway the vote. So we're here to see what priorities they have. So what do you guys want from the next government?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see fundamentally a lot more sort of climate action taken in this country. We want a government who listens to the opinions of the young people.
Rent right now is insane. With my friends, we were struggling to find a place, so finding places that have lower rent or lower rent schemes for students as well, maybe.
Definitely change their stance on Palestine. Obviously the current government is not pro-Palestine at all, and it's definitely a massive issue.
Students here told us they really care about the cost of living and the climate crisis. This area is traditionally Labour, but we could see something different coming through this time.
It's Ethan Davies here, reporting for the Manchester Evening News from the Manchester Central Convention Centre, where we'll be counting the results of the elections in Blakely and Middleton South, Manchester Central, Manchester Rushoe, Manchester Withington, Gorton and Denton, and Wythenshawe and Sale East.
Hi there, I'm Charlotte Hall. I'm here in Oldham for the election count for Oldham East and Saddleworth and Oldham West, Chadderton and Royton for the Manchester Evening News. My name is Nick Jackson, reporter for the Manchester Evening News. I'm here at the election count in Wigan, covering Makerfield and Wigan election counts.
Hi, I'm Declan Carey. I'm here at Stockport Town Hall
for the general election count here for the Manchester Evening News.
Hi, I'm Chris Slater at the Manchester Evening News. At the Tameside count, where 2 seats have been counted tonight, the Ashton-under-Lyne constituency and the Stalybridge and Hyde constituency.
Hi, I'm Tom George and I'm here at the Bury North and Bury South election counts for the Manchester Evening News.
So it's nearly 2:30 and we've had the first results come through from Greater Manchester. We've got reporters at every count across our region. There's 27 constituencies and we'll probably be here for another few hours before we get all of the results. But we've had our first big result, which was in Lee and Allerton. Labour have just won the seat again. The Tories have been pushed back to 3rd place behind Reform, which seems to be the pattern tonight. In the seats that have been declared in other parts of the country, Reform have been pushing the Conservatives to 3rd place. But Lee was a really historic result at the last election in 2019. Labour held it for over a century before that, so it was a really big deal when the Tories won there.
Hi James.
Hello.
How are you getting on?
Tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning now. There's still a number of us here in the office. Obviously it's a big operation and we're still waiting on a number of results from across the region, so yeah, still a busy night ahead.
Nice. What's keeping you going?
Lots of coffee, lots of snacks. You know, 3 o'clock and we're still here. So yeah, as you can see, I just kind of arrived and all this was here. But there's bags of crisps, we've had sandwiches, all sorts of cakes, pork pies, pastries, strawberries in chocolate, enough Haribos that would keep a big group of kids going for weeks on end. I don't think we're going to get through all those.
So it's 5:30 a.m. The sun's risen and we've got a new government. Labour have won the general election. There's still quite a few seats left to declare. We don't know the results of all the seats yet, but what we do know is Labour has secured enough seats to form a majority in Parliament, and Sir Keir Starmer is going to be the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Greater Manchester has seen all of its Conservative MPs lose their seats. No Conservatives left in Greater Manchester, with Labour winning every seat, including George Galloway's in Rochdale, and the Lib Dems winning 2 in Hazelgrove and Cheadle. So really big night, lots of change.
It's 22:06 in the morning. Labour are the new government. It's been a very exciting night, lots of change, new future, fresh start. The team have been absolutely amazing overnight. I'm a very proud editor today, and I think we've done Greater Manchester proud in the work we've done and will do over the next day or so as well.